Hey everybody, how's it going? So a few years ago, I did a video on why I dislike a lot of forms of personal insurance, and I got absolutely hammered in the comments for misunderstanding the idea behind insurance, and I'd like to clarify and also explain why I still hold the opinions that I did about 4 years ago today regarding insurance. I spoke in a video I did about 3 months ago, just a personal anecdote from my business regarding insurance. 8 years ago, there was a hurricane. As a result of the hurricane, my entire zip code lost electricity. Since I own an electronics repair shop, one of the prerequisites is electricity. Since I had no electricity, my business was interrupted, and I thought I had an easy case for a business interruption insurance policy. Well, I contact the Hartford, and I call them up, and as I explained in the video, told them everything that went on, and they go, well, no, we don't cover flood or water damage. You don't have a flood policy. And I said, what? And I said, there's no water in my store. Why would there possibly be a flood policy that's necessary? I don't have electricity. No. You don't understand, little business owner. You don't have electricity because the Con Ed plan blew up. The Con Ed plan blew up because of a flood. You don't have flood insurance, so you're fucked. And here I thought, I'm a proper business now. I'm not working out of the park like I was in 2009 or out of my apartment like 2010 or in a basement like in 2011. No, now I have a store. So I'm going to get myself a proper policy from the Hartford to cover my business in case there's any sort of loss. And what happened when I came upon a point where I would have needed the policy was they essentially told me to go fuck myself, pointed to some fine print on page 76 or whatever of the contract that said that I wasn't covered and to go away now. This has been my experience with insurance throughout my life and throughout my business, is that there's this concept that the insurance is there so that if there is a large amount of money that needs to be paid out that you don't have, you are making those small payments the whole time because there's a chance that you may get paid out more than all the payments that you had already given the insurance company. That's what many people who criticized me in my old insurance video said. I said that I don't like insurance because it's like asking for money back that you pay them. And they said, you idiot. It's not like you give them $3,000, you ask for $3 back. You give them $3,000 and maybe you have a heart attack or cancer and you need $300,000 back. No. The reason that I don't like most forms of insurance is because there's a basic fundamental conflict of interest. And that fundamental conflict of interest is as follows. The company that stands to lose money from paying out the claims is the company that interprets the contract and chooses whether or not they pay out the claim. It's not a third-party arbiter that is deciding. It's like, imagine if you're watching a boxing match and the referee is employed by one of the boxers. Like, that would be ridiculous. Of course, that boxer would almost win every single match because he hired the referee. Yet with insurance, this is the way it works. The insurance company is their own referee. They get to choose what is paid and what is not paid out. And surprise, surprise, there's a lot of times where totally legitimate claims are not paid out. Now, some of you may think that I'm overreacting, that I'm just being salty because I don't have a business interruption policy and I just spent a whole lot of money moving to a new store that's probably going to have less business as a result of being interrupted by coronavirus and you're just being salty. No. So I still am indeed a real business owner, and I do keep up to date on all of my policies that I should have as a business owner, which is why I have a business interruption insurance policy, as you can see over here. And if you take a look at this lovely policy, it says, "Dear policyholder, thank you for selecting us as your insurance company for your commercial business owner's policy. This letter is required by the New York Department of Financial Services. It is an explanation of the coverage provided for the loss of business income incurred during a business interruption caused by the coronavirus. Please contact your agent or broker directly with any questions." Now, the reason that I would like to read you what my business interruption policy says is because many people in the business world, in the landlord world, and especially outside the business world, think insurance is this basic thing where when you need it, it's just there. You have a problem, you use insurance. Business interrupted, business interruption insurance. Health problem, health insurance. They don't see the reality that I'm going to read to you after showing you this text message. So out of curiosity, I just messaged one of the people who works at my management company. He was actually a really nice guy. He's very kind, very honest. He was the only person of all the places I saw that honestly advertised this space as the size that it actually was. So I have a lot of respect for this individual. And I said, how is this affecting your other commercial tenants? We have business getting mailed in from all around the country, but people who rely on walk-in business must be getting creams right now. I was reading in the news about several restaurant chains that are not paying rent while they're closed. It's got to be a property manager's nightmare. And his response was they really should have business interruption insurance. Restaurants and bars will pay what they can for now. It's hard for a Chinese restaurant that we manage particularly. They should have business interruption insurance. Now, what is business interruption insurance? Well, the concept behind business interruption insurance is that if your business is interrupted for reasons that are outside of your control, not just I didn't feel like going to work today, that the concept behind it, the reason that I was paying for it in 2012 and the reason that I'm still paying for a policy from a different company now is the concept that if I'm forced for some reason to stop doing business and my business is interrupted, that I will be compensated the lost revenue or wages or at least a percentage of it that I would have expected to make during that time period. That's the principle. Here's the reality. New York Coronavirus Business Interruption and Related Coverages Advisory Notice to Policyholders. This notice does not form a part of your insurance contract. No coverage is provided by this notice, nor can it be construed to replace any provisions of your policy, including its endorsements. If there is any conflict between this notice and the policy, including its endorsements, the provisions of the policy, including its endorsement, shall prevail. This notice is in response to a call for a special report pursuant to Section 308 of the New York's insurance law with respect to business interruption, often referred to as business income and/or extra expense and related coverages, and to the novel coronavirus pandemic. The following provisions of your policy may affect coverage with respect to a coronavirus. However, actual determination of coverage depends on the relevant facts and circumstances of each claim. Carefully read your entire policy, including the endorsements attached to your policy. If you have any questions, please contact your broker, producer, agent, or insurer. Covered causes of loss. The covered causes of loss are established as direct physical loss unless the loss is excluded or limited under Section 1, property. Virus or bacteria exclusion. There is no coverage for loss or damage caused directly or indirectly by any virus, bacteria, or other microorganism that induces or is capable of inducing physical distress, illness, or disease. To the extent that loss or damage is not excluded, the following additional coverages are provided. Business income. Coverage is provided for the actual loss of business income you sustain due to necessary suspension of your operations during the period of restoration. The suspension must be caused by direct physical loss or damage to property at the described premises and must be caused by or result from a covered cause of loss. Virus or bacteria are excluded. Unless otherwise noted, coverage is provided for business income losses that occur within 12 consecutive months from the date of direct physical loss or damage and commences 72 hours after the related loss or damage. A virus doesn't damage my property. A virus doesn't destroy buildings or walls or doors or gates. A virus does not cause my Xiaomao to stop replacing CPUs. A virus does not cause my soldering iron to stop working. A virus causes my customers to stay home because they're afraid that they are going to fucking die. That is how that causes business interruption. This is great. This here is customer service. You see, in 2012, after the hurricane struck, I had to file a claim before I was told by my insurance company to go get fucked. Now, they save me the time and the effort. I don't gotta call up. I don't have to wait on hold. I don't have to go through your website looking for claims forms and then trying to figure out how to fill them out because you told me to get fucked before I even had a chance to do that. That's awesome. And you know how slow mail delivery is at this place because the post office keeps losing my packages. For all I know, they started drafting this letter up before the first person in America knew that someone in Wuhan was sick. Now, there are many people that, like me, pay for these types of insurance policies, knowing full well they're likely not going to ever pay out because most commercial leases require that you do. So, disgustingly painfully so, we take the money out of our wallet, we put it on the table, knowing full well that we are never going to see that money again. We kiss it goodbye, and we do so with a smile on our face so that we can stay in business. But the one thing I wish people would stop emailing and saying nonstop, whether it is customers, friends, family, or landlords, especially landlords, is, oh, were you affected by a loss of business? Just go deal with your business interruption policy and they'll be sure. No, they don't help you. They're designed to not help you. They wouldn't issue you the policy if they ever thought they'd actually have to pay out. They wouldn't make money. Insurance, at its very essence, would not make money unless they extracted more money from people than they paid out, which requires that they have very long contracts that are very confusing and written in legalese, that are designed for you to not understand, that they can nitpick through and choose and pick which clauses they want to emphasize and which they don't, so that they never pay you. I'll often also hear people say things like, well, Lewis, isn't that stupid? Why didn't you sue them? Why don't you just sue them? If you just sued them, you would get what you paid for. The policy is written in mind that they will eventually have to deal with this in court one day, which is why they have an army of attorneys that write the policy in a way that is in compliance with laws that mean that they are allowed to not pay out. You, being a normal person, not a professionally trained attorney, will not know that until you go to court. But B, more importantly so, what goods or services do you pay for that require you go to court to get them? I purchased this camera from Sony for $300. When I flick the on switch, it goes on. I don't think to myself, I'm going to buy this camera, flip the switch to turn it on, and oh, it doesn't turn on? Let me just take them to court. No, I just say, fuck that, I'm not going to buy a Sony camera anymore if that's what happens. When I go outside and if you go into a car and you turn the key and expect the ignition to turn on, you don't just go, oh, well, the ignition doesn't turn on. Oh, yeah, just take Ford to court. They'll have your car. No, we expect things that we purchase, that we pay for, to work. When I open my web browser and I go to google.com, I expect the website to show up. I don't expect to have to sue Verizon Fios. But for some reason, it's just something that's mouthed normally. Oh, why didn't you have insurance? Oh, they didn't pay out. Why didn't you just sue them? People typically tend to use insurance when they're at points in their life. It's a low point. Maybe your house burned down, you lost your job, you lost your business, you had a heart attack. You're under financial stress and you're also under life stress. That's typically not the time during which the average individual is going to have the resources or state of mind to go through a legal battle. Insurance companies know this, which is why they typically tend to win. Because people whose house just burned down, whose business was just ruined, who had a stroke, cancer, childbirth, or a heart attack, don't have time to go to court. Imagine that. I find the same thing to be true with healthcare. Several members of my family have had this kind of thing occur with friends of theirs where they'll tell me that, somebody had this insurance for this amount of time and then they finally got sick and then they were dropped from a policy. This was before the ACA or any of that stuff. And even afterwards, now they've just made it so that the deductible is ridiculously high and the premiums are ridiculously high so that you either A, won't sign up, or B, if you do sign up, you need to get hit by a car in order for them to actually pay out something that is worthwhile. So even after that, it still follows the same general rules. I don't say what I say about insurance because I am irresponsible, nor do I say it because I am looking to be a cheapskate. While I am a cheapskate when it comes to some of my own personal items, I am not a cheapskate when it comes to my business. I believe in running a responsible business, and I believe in doing business properly so that if something were to occur, I am covered. The reason I have the thoughts that I do about insurance is because time and time again, throughout my life, whether it's as an individual, as a business, or back when I was a licensed health insurance salesperson back in 2008, I have had these same experiences, and those experiences have led me to the belief that insurance, by design, is set up to be as ridiculous as possible so that you're not able to actually collect on any of your policies unless your arm is twisted by a court of law. Typically, people use insurance when they suffer a loss. When someone suffers a loss, something terrible is likely to be going on in their life, such that they're not going to be able to have the time or the money to pay an attorney and have the time stretched out to go to court. which means that the insurance company will likely win, which they do, which is why they have nice fancy buildings and rich executives that work there and the money to pay well-paid salespeople. They wouldn't have that money if they were actually paying out the policies. As controversial as it may be, this is my experience. This was my experience in 2008. This was my experience in 2012. This is my experience in 2020. And I expect that I will continue to have this experience so long as commercial insurance exists the way it does today. It's one thing to spend money on something that I fully realize is a scam. All I'm asking for, not even saying that I'm asking you to take it out of leases so that I don't have to pay for this crap anymore. All I'm asking is that we call it what it is, a scam. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video.